Hi everyone. So this is part 3 of the chapter on movement of substances. Okay. In this video, I will be talking about active transport. And for this video, right, please take note that it is actually only in syllabus for the G3 pure biology students. For science biology students, right, there is no need for you to study active transport. However, I would advise you to listen or to read up on this because I believe even though that you do not have to study the theory, you have to understand the concept of what active transport is. Okay, and it will help you in your biology journey, regardless of whether it is pure bio or science bio. Okay, so yeah, try to take note. Okay, so this is part 3. It's not in syllabus for G2, G3 students. Okay, and so begin. And this is the syllabus. All right. For O-level students, right, you have to define active transport. The definition is important, and you have to discuss the importance of active transport as an energy-consuming process. Okay, so it consumes energy, and substances, right, are transported against a concentration gradient. All right, such as the mineral salts uptake by root cells and the uptake of glucose by cells in the villi, which will be covered in chapter 5. All right, so this is the syllabus, pretty heavy, but actually this video is very short. Okay, just the concept alone. So what is the definition of active transport? All right, it is the movement of particles or molecules, okay, from a region of lower, this time it is lower, to a distant to a region of higher concentration. Okay, so compared to osmosis and diffusion, which is from high to low, okay, for active transport it is the opposite, is from low to high. All right, and so we use the term up or against a concentration gradient. Okay, the difference is in the opposite direction. So active transport, right, requires energy for it to occur. So again, if you were to look at all three processes in totality, active transport requires energy. And so we use the word active to describe this process. Okay, hence active transport. Active transport also requires the presence of a partially permeable membrane. Okay, so just like osmosis, it requires the presence of a membrane. And actually, right, active transport is unique in biology because active transport only occurs in plant cells. Okay, even though it is a molecular concept, but it is a very applicable biological concept. And so, yes, it only occurs in living cells. If the cells are not alive, active transport will not occur. Okay, because it requires energy. All right. So this energy, of course, comes from mitochondria in chapter 1. And the process is known as aerobic respiration. And if you refer to chapter 1 again, aerobic respiration releases energy from the breakdown of glucose, and this energy is of course used for the cells to do work, correct? Now the cells can do a lot of work using a lot of energy. Active transport is one of the processes that the cell can use to perform. Okay? This diagram shows you the movement of molecules against a concentration gradient. Okay, so we have the cell membrane over here, all right, which is this dotted line. This is depicted as a cell membrane. Now you can see over here, right, the molecule concentration is only 3, whereas the molecule concentration on the other region, right, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, it's about 8, correct? So over here is low concentration, and over here is low, and over here is high, correct? Now by using energy, right, I can move the molecules from low to high, okay, which is depicted by the arrow over here, okay? And because of this movement from low to high, right, we call this active transport. So it's not diffusion, okay? It is, how do I say, the opposite of diffusion, all right? So active transport examples in animals and plants differ, but the general concept is the same, okay? Sometimes, right, we cannot rely on diffusion alone. Okay, we have to be efficient so that when we absorb nutrients after a meal, right, active transport is also being employed. All right, so there is diffusion and active transport. When we absorb glucose in the kidney tubules into the bloodstream, something that you will study in chapter 8, okay, for pure bio students, this absorption, right, is also on diffusion, and to make it more efficient, active transport. Okay, for plant cells, right, for plants, you have studied chapter 1 on root hair cells, and so when root hair cells absorbs mineral salts, they can absorb it by diffusion. Okay, but when the concentration in the soil, right, is lower than in the roots, they will use energy to absorb mineral salts by active transport. All right, so that's it. Okay, so this is a very short video on active transport, and even though it is not in syllabus for science biology students, I think it is important to know what active transport is. For pure biology students, yes, you have to learn. Okay, it is applicable in most chapters, which you will find out later. All right, thank you. Bye bye.